Lee. So you can see that Mike is. Ooh, I think that is not some of the right cards for Mike. I think we've had a technical hiccup that Mark is going to be able to fix for us. So, yeah. So these guys have known each other all weekend now, and they've played against each other multiple times. They're both 2-1, so they are on track to make cut. But one of them is going to leave this game 2-2 and have to win their last round, have a chance, but not a guarantee of making it in. Hopefully that is part of what keeps this interesting. Michael has gained a lot of attention for having red, blue, and green dragons. He's also got Millennium Puzzle, Constantine Hellblazer, Prismatic Spray, and Lord of D. So both players did bring Hellblazer, which is awesome. It is such a fantastic card. If you've gone to WizKid's website and read some of the articles, you might have seen me writing about Constantine. So Michael buys 2 Cobalt dice there. His opponent's got 2 Zarinas. Okay, yeah, Mike and Mike here. Michael Lee is one of those players, as I said before with Dan Lumen, that when people are talking about who do they think has a shot of winning this event, they say, I think that Michael Lee could really pull it off. And he's kind of in a precarious spot in terms of making that happen, but you have to consider that David Walsh went 3-2 at U.S. Nationals and came back to win the whole thing. So this could be the one of the performances for Michael to really make it go. He played against Truby Turner and won in the finals, beating Truby's Kobolds and Constantine. So Michael is the top performing Kobold player. He really, people say, oh, I think I have a target on my back in terms of when you're a notable player, people want to be sure they can beat you. The fact that people are playing Manticore to counter Kobolds is, very. I'm sure Truby is part of it, but if Truby had lost to a player not using Kobolds and not using Manticore, I don't think we'd be looking at the metagame we have today. So we see a human paladin in the mix for Mike. Going to be interesting to watch that human paladin get really, really big. So once per turn, when one of those kobolds gets knocked out, the paladin's going to get bigger. I don't know how the players are going to keep track of that. Let's wait and see till it actually happens. Not to mention, the dragons are monsters too. They've got the monster banner from D&D, not to be confused with the Yu-Gi-Oh designation for monster. So bolt, sidekick are the faces are showing before Mike rolls them. Mike's rolling it up. So interesting that Mike didn't PXG last turn. I mean, it wasn't part of what he had, obviously, but oh wait, interesting that didn't PXG. I'm saying this, but there isn't one on the table. That's a great reason for him to not use PXG. Always check for globals, Dice Masters fans. I got a chance in between rounds to wander around a little bit, check in with some other players. Got a chance to speak with one of the players who came here from Mexico, actually, and very, very nice guy. He was very complimentary of the depth and complexity of the United States metagame, and that it is players are not doing very many different or interesting things back home for him. It is a lot of Gabi's Arena, but I hope that those players are watching the stream. They know they're getting the message loud and clear. That is not what you have to play. You can play all sorts of different teams, and I'm sure there are people though, because those are just such great characters that, hey, I'm playing characters I love, and they happen to be the AVX super rares as it would be. I never thought to ask Michael if he's just a dragon guy, but I imagine he's the Spike competitor type because of his clear success at the Wednesday event. I think it's fair to say the Wednesday event that Michael won has been one of the most competitive Dice Masters events ever, because all of the players who were not pre-qualified, so the best players from U.S. Nationals, minus Kelly Davies and David Walsh, everybody else was just showing up. Okay, I need to make it into Worlds, and this is my first shot. True, some players, due to scheduling, were only able to show up the next day, but there were 16 less of the top players in the mix for the second day. Okay, so the question was, oh, well, it came out of the dice tower, and the players agree, no, it's fair to re-roll it. Okay. Gonna be character time for Mike. There's no magic missile and there's no slifer in the mix. Ooh, so it dawns on me that transfer power is going to be really crazy if the human paladin gets too big. But at the same time, he won't be able to transfer power because of the while active ability. So he would first have to blank the human paladin with prismatic spray. So it looks like someone is taking damage. I'm going to go check in with the players and ask that they use the life tracker so it's a little bit easier for us to keep up. Hey Dice Masters fans, so I let the players know that pointing with Constantine makes all of our lives a lot easier, and I also pointed out that if they could use the life tracker along the bottom, it will be easier to follow. Okay. I think one of the fantastic things that I've gotten a chance to experience at Dice Masters, in general, but especially this weekend, is that everybody just has such a positive attitude about playing a game that they really love. Really, really interested to see which of these players comes out on top, and I'm sure that almost all of them could be happy for almost any other player. It's the excitement of seeing who can do it, and of course the introspective of can I do it for many of these players. Okay, so goodbye to the Paladin. Hello to Zarina. The Slifer and Magic Missile Global seems like it would just be so killer in conjunction with that Paladin against the Kobolds. So Constantine has called Zarina. And let's shake it up. Okay. Man, both of these guys brought Millennium Puzzle. I think Millennium Puzzle might be the card from Yu-Gi-Oh! That I'd label as can't be ignored. I think it might be like that good. I say this as Jinzo pops up on the screen, and of course he's also another that really can't be ignored. You always have to kind of have a plan for Jinzo, and I think part of what's fascinating about Michael's deck is that there's so many effects that he gets to use that fall outside of what Jinzo kind of goes after, and I think that's going to make life, well, I would say make life difficult for Mike, but Mike's just not going to buy Jinzo as often as he normally would. Figure most people, they have their actions, and they've got their basic actions, and they've got their globals, and then they've got obviously character abilities like Zarina's or Constantine's, but Michael has these effects that are going to fire off a lot, like the Swarm effect, and he's got the Breath Weapon effect. Michael pointing out the Swarm is how this is happening for the camera. Okay, and boom. Let's see what he gets. I think Michael's going to re-roll the kobolds because I think they're mostly an energy source for him. Oh. It's really interesting to me to get the chance to watch all these players play. Like such a treat, and I hope that you're all enjoying it at home. You know, we're at the end of the road to Worlds almost in some ways, but as I think I've said earlier in the weekend, we're really back almost at the beginning. That everyone's going to leave here today. We're going to have a world champion, and it's just going to be a new fire for the players to want to do well and succeed and kind of figure out what's what for Dice Masters. It looks like he purchased, like Michael has purchased a blue dragon die. Man, Swarm is some crazy stuff. Swarm will do a bunch of damage if you try and do too much of it with Professor X also in the mix, though. Okay, so Constantine's really keeping those Tsarinas in check. I mean, they can attack, but they can attack and they can do the damage this turn. But you know, they're so easily just knocked out by the sidekicks when they block. Theoretically, an interesting choice for a team using kobolds might be Vibranium Shield. That way, people can't just ping your sidekicks from one with abilities such as Slight for the Sky Dragon or Magic Missile. Lord of D on Michael's team, really cool that he breaks boundaries and has a little cross-firing action with the Dungeons & Dragons. Something I personally enjoy, but I have heard other players comment throughout the weekend that they're really happy for that interplay. And I've said over and over that Mike Elliott and Eric Lang do a really fantastic job of giving certain things a feel. That a dragon feels like a dragon. You know, the magic user feels like the magic user. But within that, I'm glad the game can tell the story and send the signal to me. There's also an element of, I know that, you know, Tsarina is going to have a nuanced and interesting spy effect, and that some other spy that might come out later is going to speak to the ability and the theme and function just a little differently. But one of the cool things, too, of course, about Dice Masters, there's going to be multiple versions of every character card. So you're going to have, you know, potentially a Green Arrow and a Hawkeye, who their effect is the same and their bodies might be different or whatever. But then you're going to have 2 or 3 other versions that are pretty different. You go, ooh, aha, and it's gonna be a nice variety. Mike looks so focused. Mike Trias looks so hyper focused right now. So he wasn't sure how he wanted to break up the damage between Constantine and that sidekick, and his big Tsarina goes and KOs both of them. So in case you weren't sure, that was the level 3 Tsarina. Okay, so grabs one. Okay, so one die out of the bag. Mike showing, hey, there's nothing getting hidden in here. So with 1, 2, 3. Oh. So he gets another die. Another die. Okay. So the majority of Michael's sidekicks were showing on the table, so his odds of being able to hit a swarm there were really good, and he obviously knew it. Swarm is so much fun. We get a lot of requests. Oh, could more things have swarm? I don't think that's what you guys actually want. Okay, so Michael's rolling nearly everything. Interesting, very, very interesting to me. The downside on Kobold is going to start to matter here, and the human paladin. This could be the turn where he starts to get the +1/+1 experience. Okay. Spending 5 for a green dragon. The breath weapons are gonna add up if Mike's able to leverage multiples. I think I'm excited on some level. Like, hey, can we get a red dragon? Okay, so. Ooh, wow, that's a lot of energy. Mike just bought a green and a blue dragon, so he just spent 9 energy this turn. That's pretty big. Tough to argue with. So Mike chump blocks the Kobold, and Swarm Rip is kind of dead. Yeah, there's the Kobold on the screen now. Must activate your opponent controls. Ooh. Wait, I'm gonna pop back over there. So, little bit of active judging there. Technically speaking, the paladin is forced to block the kobold, if able. Okay, so Mike's rolling a bunch of dice. So I haven't explained the mat. Mike's mat is signed by all sorts of different people he's met this weekend. Someone wrote something about Columbus, Ohio. So I talked about how people do different things to try and commemorate their experience in a yearbook-style fashion. And Mike has done something really, really cool here. I'm super glad we got a chance to feature it on camera, and of course very happy that he chose to use the mat that he won in this way. Really, just such an exciting weekend. He's going to have that to take home with him. He's saying to me, like, oh, we should figure out something for WizKids to do to commemorate this weekend of Dice Masters, and I think it's a great idea, and you'll probably see some pictures for whatever it is that we come up with or manage at some point in the future. Okay, so Resurrection with only the Hulk in the bag. Shakes the bag, gets the Hulk. Little bit of theater by Mike on that one. Interesting to note, of course, that both players are still tied at 19. Crazy, just crazy that we've got so many dice in the mix. Okay. Michael's rolling. Ooh, okay, that is a red dragon. Oh, I misspoke earlier. So Mike has red, green, and blue dragon firing off in the near future. They're all in the mix. He's got them in the bag at this point. So got a sidekick, 2 kobolds, bolt. So the paladin being forced to block could start to matter here. So Michael doesn't have enough energy to use to use the breath weapon. He's one short. Oh, we're starting to draw a little bit of a crowd. Got Joel coming over to check out, see how these players are doing. Okay, so block. Yeah, like I think it has to be tempting for Mike to let the Red Dragon through, because it's going to just be so monstrous if action dice start coming out for Michael. But hey, he's willing to get the energy, and I think Michael's probably happy that he didn't select for the kobolds to just get through. Okay. So Mike is going to get to use the Hulk. Okay. Oh, so yeah. So one of the things that you'll notice is you could probably debate if re-rolling that die is necessary or not, but the fact that Mike has done it consistently is what makes it definitely okay. The fact that it's Hulk Green Goliath also is really going to be strong for Mike in this scenario. However, it's strong against the breath weapon. It's not. There's no ping mechanism for Mike to fire off of. I can't help but wonder, watching this game and not having knowledge about Mike Trace's other games, formerly Weapon 10 is not something that he's gone for and is utilizing here. And I think it definitely is a little weak in the matchup because of the kobold stuff and how he doesn't have Relentless, for example, to get through them as much as Human Paladin can help. But I just have to wonder if he's been utilizing it much during the day, or if he might have been better served with another low-cost character or a global of some kind. These guys. So we talked about how sometimes players will intentionally draw. I think these guys might be approaching an unintentional draw. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens, because they're both firmly seated at 19 life, and things could swing back and forth pretty readily. Okay, we've got another Zarina in the mix. Mike helping us out by pointing out that he's using Resurrection. One of the strategy points on Resurrection that players have mentioned previously, and I think is good to bring up again, is that it's a 1-for-1. So a lot of the times you'll use something now that you can't use otherwise, as shield, for something later, which is fine on surface. Sometimes you'll forego doing something now to do something later, and that's pretty good in some situations, but it's bad in others. And some people have made the argument, I think correctly so, like, why should I forego something now for something later when I could have the advantage faster or more immediately? But the key thing to remember here is that you can be using sidekick dice now for better dice later. You bought these dice; they're clearly worth more than the sidekick. I'd rather let my investment kind of gain interest, and of the investment of the shield into the Resurrection Global. Also worth noting is that since both players have the Resurrection Global, they can both use it twice during their turn. Okay. Unsure what path Michael's going to take with this one. I think he might try and fire multiple breath weapons in a single turn. This might be the last Dice Masters game on stream until the finals, because we're going to try and get the HeroClix players situated. Oh, as I look away to try and gain a sense of the timing, the players have called for a judge. So, okay. There's a question about Breath Weapon, I think, and how it interacts with the Hulk, and when would Michael's field get blown apart? Okay, so let's. Yeah, this would have been simpler had Michael rolled the polymorphed as an action this turn instead of as an energy last turn. But you know that's not the reality we're living in. So, okay, I think the issue is settled. Good. So, pays to field those characters has 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't tell. I think Michael has 6 energy, which isn't perfect for 3 breath weapons. The Hulk face that Mike has out might be too big though, because it's 6 damage with the breath weapon compared to, I believe, a 7 defense. It could, maybe he's only at the 5 though. We'll be able to tell when things fire. Okay, so he used 2 energy to get the Resurrection Global effect twice. So Michael's gonna pass. I think that's really judicious. He needs a big turn, and he's gonna get that big turn, but he's gonna have to get the Hulk out of the way first, and so he's trying to make sure that there's just an optimal mix of things in his bag and available to him to make that happen. Oh, I get what Michael shaking his head. I think Michael has made a strategical error. He looks upset with himself. Yeah, so yeah, I think he probably just knows, like, not even to put Mike into the spot of saying, like, oh, can we rewind, because that's just not fair. Okay. Oh, it might have been Constantine calling Zarina or not. I'm not sure. I think, okay, that might have been what happened there. Okay, so gonna be a lot of damage here. I always love the fact that you have this big field zone, but myself included, we all line up the dice because it's just so visually pleasing. Oh boy, Mike is trying to plan this out. He wants to seal this deal. So, big fan of polymorph for both of these players in terms of getting. So Michael takes 6 off of the Zarina damage, and the question is, of course, is he going to block? I think it makes sense for him to block. Like, why take the extra damage when you really don't need to? Ooh. Transfer power. Okay, so Mike is turn 0. And I think he just used transfer power to swap where those attack values are. This is very, very good of Mike to do. Michael has likely had few opponents think to try and take advantage of this. I think this is a weird situation. I think Michael should have spun down his dragons in level to make sure, if he could have, to make sure that the Zarians would have less attack to copy. Okay, so I think Michael swapped back. Yes, good. I was kind of hoping for that. Red Dragon taken down by Black Widow. There's no limit to what Natasha Romanoff can do, apparently. Wow, big turn. So Michael's down to 9. He is the first of the 5 final turn. Or sorry, no, I don't believe 5. I believe 3 final turns because it's a 30-minute round. Okay, so he's got a bunch of characters, and he doesn't want those kobolds as characters. He's going on his energy. He's also going to want to have polymorph, and that is simply not the case right now. I think Michael is starting to be in that position of just being so precipitously low on life that it is tough for him to continue to play the game in an aggressive fashion to allow himself to win. We'll see, but he's got to do quite a bit of thinking here to get himself into a favorable spot. But he's got to reroll. So yeah, those kobolds are gonna get to be energy. I think transfer power is interesting for the Dragon team because you get an opportunity to do the polymorph thing without necessarily having a character die to swap out. Okay. Ooh, so good thing to point out that I didn't earlier. When Michael allowed the Black Widow die to go unblocked, it would make sure that Mike had something in his used pile. So if Michael was able to draw the polymorph action die, there would be an in-play target. So when Michael now attacks the kobolds, Mike is forced to block one of them with the paladin. Blocking. Okay. And yeah, why would I wonder? Oh, Mike can't block with Hulk because the kobold would get transfer powered, but he's probably gonna block with something just so again he doesn't get transfer powered. No, Michael's explaining to somebody what's happened. Mike is still in decision mode, I believe. I think in Michael's shoes, you're kind of in a rough spot because if you had purchased those Constantine dice earlier, it would mean that you'd have the shields you need to use transfer power now. But now purchasing the Constantine die is actually competing directly with the ability to use transfer power. So I think that's one of those Dice Masters situations that you'll sometimes find yourself in. And just remembering that hey, this sort of thing happens in games is going to let you make gameplay decisions, particularly purchasing decisions, in an ambiguous environment a little bit better. To say, hey, I don't know if buying die A or die B is better, but I know that this global is going to matter, and so I'd rather have the energy available outside of sidekicks as often as possible when the time comes for me to need them. Okay. So, shaking up the dice. Okay. Fists for days. Get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fists. Oh. I can't tell if Michael forgot to call that, something with Constantine again. Very important. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. Mike is turn 2. There is one more turn in this game after this. The game could potentially be a tie. We could potentially have a firm winner. Let's see what happens. A lot of people don't realize that in early Dice Masters, ties were possible because both players could reach 0 life at the same time. Force Beam is the culprit. That it's a single effect damaging both players. So that's a neat little thing to consider. Tough for Mike to try and swing with Hulk at any point. Okay, so he's gonna buy a polymorph die, use Red Dragon, and send Michael down to 8 life. Oh, cool play from Mike Trias. He skipped fielding a Zarina. A lot of people miss when they need to not field a character. Sometimes the level 3 character face is not the good one. Oh, I glanced away for a moment and thought, no way could Michael be attacking with everyone this fast without thinking about it. So this is turn 3. Michael is gonna... I think he's gonna go get some more energy. Yeah, because he wants to have the energy to breath weapon. Oh, I think that's game. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so gonna poly Hulk out for Black Widow. Oh, crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure they get the match slip so we can get to the next round as fast as possible. But I think I'm gonna check also with HeroClix and let you guys know when we're switching over. Michael won. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm all the way back. Yeah, you get 5.